Shalom, giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Arachak, Wadash, the ones to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopefully like tabernacle of David scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. The tide is turning. The tide is turning. And given the times that we're heading into, it is definitely the worst time to be alone, especially if you are a woman. You know, hardship is going to increase, and no one there to help carry the load. You know, it's gonna bring further depression. We know that women are the weaker vessel, so she's not built to handle that kind of pressure. All right. And a lot of these women, you know, they're starting to feel defeated, you know, and this ain't nothing but the results of your poor decision making. All right. You chose comfort, and you chose pleasure. You chose your own narcissism, you know, over, you know, what's more valuable for you. And now it's all playing out. So now you got a lot of women that are, they're facing reality. They're facing the funk. You know, we're going into a time where economically shit is in shambles. You know, you got U.S. port execs that are warning that retail inventories could possibly run out in the next 5 to 7 weeks. You know, so that means that you're going to start seeing empty shelves, or a lot of the supply is going to be very limited, and the price is going to be sky high. This is happening while a lot of people are getting laid off. You know, a lot of companies are, you know, going under. People having to go from, you know, getting overtime to working hours that are actually under that 40-hour marker. So you're not, even if you're working, you're not going to make as much money that you normally are accustomed to. So this is lining up for catastrophe, economic catastrophe. And if you think it's bad now, you know, just wait till later. And these women, they're seeing where it's heading, and they don't have any men. They don't have any mates. You know, they don't have any husbands. And what you're going to see in this clip, you know, some of these women are post-war women. You know, these are older women that didn't live their lives. You know, they didn't have their fair share of men. You know, didn't really have any value for any of them, or else they would have stuck with their men. So now they're, you know, they're voicing their concerns. All right, they're crying out for sympathy, that they're on their own, hoping that there's going to be some, you know, compassionate simp that's going to put on his cape and you know, run to the rescue. But the spirit that's on these men right now, yeah, it's not looking too good. But it reminds me of the dynamic of the relationship between Israel and the Most High himself. You know, Israel was joined unto the Most High in marriage through the covenant. That was pretty much like the wedding vow, all right, where we admitted to the agreement that we would keep his law, statutes, commandments, his judgments. We would hearken to his voice. and obey, and we would be blessed. But if we went against the covenant, if we broke the covenant, it would come with those terms and conditions, which is what the curses. And Jake would feel those effects of the curses when they would stop being loyal to the Heavenly Father. Then they would acknowledge their offenses. Then they would humble down. Then they would try to seek the Most High. Like it says in Hosea, I will return and hide my face. You know, he said he would basically return into his place and hide his face from them. In their affliction, they will seek him early. You know, he said he's going to hide his face until they acknowledge their offenses. In their affliction, they will seek him early. So as long as you're prosperous, you're hyped to do whatever the hell you think you want to do. But the moment affliction sets in, then you humble down. Then you get serious. So it's the same dynamic, man. And these type of things help you to understand the Most High. And we're created in his likeness and his image. So anyway, let me play some of this video. And then we'll get a couple precepts. I'm not going to make this super long. A lot of these women are post-war, you know, in their late 30s, all throughout their 40s, and you're not already settled down with a husband. You know, that speaks a lot. You know, this liberty really destroyed you. You know, like the scriptures say. You know, you're not supposed to give these women liberty to gad abroad. And now, you know, because of their poor decisions, look at them. You know, went from man to man to man. So, you know, your sexual value is quite low. Some of these women are, you know, divorced. You know, it would have just been well off for you to reconcile with your husband and get back with your husbands. Isn't that? Let me get that in the scripture. But you know, in this society, you women are proud. You had a lot of pride, man. This is 1 Corinthians 7. Yeah, this is 1 Corinthians 7. And 10 it says, and unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. You know, because once you are married, you're bound under the law by that man, you know, to the death, as long as that man lives. But, you know, here in the West, you know, marriage doesn't mean anything anymore. You know, these women, they just use it to get the win, you know, over the man. She conquers them through the marriage. You know, it's all one-sided in the court system. And then after she milks you for everything you got for 7 years or however long it goes, then that's when she, you know, makes that move, checkmates you. So, you know, marriage has been weaponized through this corrupt legal system. You know, but you's better off staying with your husband, sticking it out, man. But the grass is always greener, you know. It says, but and if she depart, let her remain unmarried. And 98, 99% of the time, they don't remain unmarried. They immediately start dating other men, you know, after their marriage. Or sometimes they don't even wait for the divorce. They just go out and they just start dating. They mad at their husband. They not happy. So they seek attention somewhere else. And you know, they get down. They hop on the carousel, even while in the process of the divorce. So these women are straight up serial adulteresses too. And that's what they won't admit. That's what they won't tell you. You be freaking off, man, when they're supposed to be married to their husbands. And the law says, you know, shall a man return unto that woman after she went out and dealt with another man? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? So a lot of these women, they do it to themselves. They're lonely because they fucked up their life. They made the poor decisions. You know? So a lot of them, it wouldn't even be able to work out, because you return back to that man with a polluted badge and another man's spirit on you. He ain't finna take you back. So yeah, you you just out there now. Now you gotta fend for yourself. This is what the serpent did to these women. Who finna take this damaged goods? Who wants that? Who's gonna put up with this? So men right now, they're not trying to hear it. All right, you done ran out of faces to play in. This is the wrong time, man. This is the wrong time for you women. All right, but this is only gonna make you women, you know, have to face the funk, and you will have no choice but to really, really humiliate yourself. You know. Verse 11. I'm gonna read that again. It says, "But if it's like unto the married, I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. But and if she depart, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife." You know, but he's not going to accept you back, knowing the game, knowing how it is over here. Most of these women, they dip off. You're not seeing eye to eye with your man for whatever reason. You think that's that gives you a pass to go and lay down with other men. You know? So this is where it's at now. It's no longer marriage material.
I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't drink anything without feeling pain and pain, true pain.
Man, and that was just an opener. That was a heavy opener. All right. So all these women are getting on social media, they're getting online, and they're sending out their cries. You know? And these men ain't trying to hear it. You know? You made your bed. They ain't trying to hear it. Now you're starting to figure out why men are to be valued. The Lord said that he would, and this is really pertaining to men of the Lord, by the way, but the scriptures say that the Lord would make a man more precious than fine gold. Is that Isaiah 13? Yeah, Isaiah 13 and 12, it says, "I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than a golden wedge of Ophir." All right. And what does it mean to be precious? It's the Hebrew word yaquar. And it says, apparently to be heavy, i.e. figuratively valuable, causatively to make rare, to make precious, be prized, showing you that men are the prize, not you women. To esteem, be prized, be valuable, be precious, be costly, be appraised. you know, because it's going to take for a man for you to, you know, have to survive these conditions and times that we're heading into, especially a man of the Lord, because the Lord's going to divinely protect his men. You're not with one of those men, then you're susceptible. So a lot of these women are going to be left out there. You're going to be by yourself. You see why Kevin Samuels used to say what he said. You know, just get a dog and die alone. And they're starting to see the writing on the wall. You know, you pass your prime. You done had children. You're not with your husband. You probably done dealt with a few men since your divorce. Why should he have to be relegated to have to deal with that? So that's the truth of the matter right now. Yeah, a lot of you women are gonna perish here in Babylon. A lot of you. The salute to the Akwaf, though, the sisters are of the various tribes that are, you know, hearkening, you know, taking precaution, taking heed, and doing what's responsible. You're gonna watch a lot of these fellow women out here. You're gonna watch them. They all gonna perish. All right, and then that leads to the dynamic in Isaiah 4. Matter of fact, before I even go there, let me go to Isaiah 32. And this is Isaiah 32 and 1. It says, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert, all right, protection from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. And Yahushua, he's pretty much our covering, because he's our head, you know. And you know, we get the everlasting water, the rivers of living water. We get that from Yahushua through the Spirit. So Yahushua being our head, and that's the treatment we get if we fall up under him. Our women, they're gonna get the protection. They're gonna get the covering from their head, which is their man. So think of it like that. So let me jump down. And this is verse 9. It says, rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. And they know what's going on. Them empty shelves, which is all orchestrated. High ass prices. The housing market, sky high. Nobody wants to buy a home right now. If you rely on these housing vouchers, Section 8, low income housing, all those benefits are being attacked. Let me play this real quick.
Okay, if you have not heard, President Trump would like to eliminate Section 8 housing choice vouchers being subsidized by the federal government. He would like to leave that up to the states to do that if they want to, so your state wouldn't have to. And he also wants to cap the time you could be on Section 8 to 2 years. He wants to put a work requirement on it, meaning if you're able-bodied, you have to work 40 hours a week to continue to receive it. Okay, regardless how you feel about this, there's a good chance he gets this through. And we all know there's a lot of people that need that Section 8. But we also know there's a lot of people who take advantage of it. And again, no matter how you feel, if this goes through, there's going to be a lot of people on the street without that Section 8 assistance. So tell me in the comments, how do you feel about this? Do you think this...
And a lot of those people that's going to be on them streets that utilize these programs are predominantly women. Men, we don't qualify. They don't give these benefits to the men. They give it straight to the women. So you know who this is aimed at. You know? So you seeing the writing on the wall. You seeing what's going down. This is why we always quote this, and the message constantly goes out. It's urgent. Rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, you women that are at ease. You feel insecure. And thus you're very proud. Be troubled, you careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Meaning, be prepared to mourn. Right? Because these conditions is finna get crazy. It says they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. And it's not going to come through. Okay? So a lot of these women are going to feel the reproach of not, being protected, not having a husband, being by themselves, being vulnerable to what's going on out there, the conditions. People going to be trying to survive. They're going to be desperate. Violence is increasing all throughout the land. You gonna look at somebody wrong or cut somebody off in traffic. All right, accidentally step on somebody's shoe. All right, in any little thing, and people got a spirit of vengeance on them. So, yeah, it's coming down to the wire. All right. And this is definitely the wrong time to be on your own. And these women, this is why they bugging out. Let me play a little more of this and we'll close.
This man made me spaz so bad, and I've been being his friend. We've been talking or whatever, and I've been trying to get him grace. Like, I be so guarded and just... And I just been trying to be nice and shit, whatever. But these men are really fucking trying it. This is fucking pitiful. What? Like, I am perplexed. Then I started getting on his ass. I said, you coming into a relationship, just got divorced, got 5 kids. You're bringing baggage. I'm coming into a new relationship with nothing. Huh? What? And you smoke weed.
No, that's your bad. If these are the type of men you attracting, that's what you want. That's at the same time, you women you can't complain about anything right now. Because the tide is turning. The men, they're now finna hold the line. All right, you got to get in line now. Whatever it comes with, you got to deal with that. It has been one-sided for, the last few decades. And all this masculinity, that's not going to cut it. Men are going to... A lot of you so-called black women, man, you just can't help yourself. All that masculine energy, you're not going to get any men with that. Sometimes you seem like you masculine enough to be able to protect yourself. You ain't going to need no man in that day. It's going to be you up against the man in that day. He got to watch himself from Eve. Like, sheesh.
Then you sitting there talking about, I'm a high value money.
See, and she don't see it. So this is why she gonna be alone. Let me see. These are mainly N-dubs.
But ma'am, he was right about one thing. At 28, the wall is approaching you. This is no time to give up on dating.
So I was having a conversation with some of my friends. We were just talking about dating in Atlanta and how difficult it is for a lot of us single, childless women to date. But I cracked the code, and it's really simple. When you date a man that like you, when I say like you, I mean prioritize spending time with you, flowers, cater to your needs, emotionally intelligent and present, But there's only one common denominator with that. That man just genuinely have to like you. And, you know, I realized like what I was doing wrong when I was dating. They like me physically, they like the way I look, but they didn't like me. And that's okay.
Yep. Yep. Because you women feel like you don't have to do anything else. Just look good. Just exist. You don't have to make any changes. You know, you basically, you grow up with that complacent complex. You know, I'm good the way I am. I don't have to change. You know, I don't have to hold myself accountable. And that ruin your attitude. You know, men they're not attracted to that. So these women are starting to finally look in the mirror, but it's sad that it has to take for this dynamic to occur, for them to finally start to realize what's been perpetuated. And so what are you going to do about it? For the most part, you know, men are already done checked out. Yeah, this woman, she looked good. Well, I would have to see her without the makeup and that you know, that weave. You know, take the fake hair off, take the makeup out. You know, she might look decent, but a lot of these women, they're stuck in their ways, their mentality, their attitudes. You know, there's really nothing you can do. So a lot of these women, they're going to be, when that time comes, they're going to be complaining that they don't have anyone. Let's go to 2nd Esdras. It's 2nd Esdras 16 and verse 33. And it says, the virgins shall mourn, which a lot of these women, they're not virgins. You know, back in the ancient world, you know, you any woman you saw out there, they would be a virgin unless if they were married, you wouldn't even see them because they'd be at home. But not in America. All right. It says, having no bridegrooms, the women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. So these women are going to be single. All right. Their children are going to be fatherless. So they're going to be looking for help. And in this climate, sheesh. Men are just ignoring them. It says, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So that's how it's going to be a shortage of men, making the men that are available, that are of value, that's gonna make those men precious. All right. All the stock and value will be with these men. Okay, and when these women start to see that, this is when they're gonna start to say, all right, they're gonna give in. This is their attitude. Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. You know, because women, you know, they felt shame when they didn't have a man, when they didn't have any children. You know, it was a shameful thing. They would be depressed. All right. So they're going to be looking to marry, all right, men. And they're going to know that they have, those men have women. So women are going to be having to share. Let's go to the NLT. It says, in that day, so few men will be left that 7 women will fight for each man, saying, let us marry you. We will provide our own food and clothing. Only let us take your name so we won't be mocked as old maids. And that's these women right here. They on their own. They lonely. You know, they know that they didn't hit the wall. They can't be picky anymore. So this is where it's boiling down to. You know, shit, this woman right here, she don't look bad. You know, if she down in ATL, I don't know, maybe one of you Akim at ATL, y'all run into her in that day. See what happens. But even right now, she might still have a certain level of pride on her. You know, because she's still, driving a nice little car, probably living a nice home, doing for herself. But, she lose that comfortability, she's going to humble herself. It takes for affliction to happen, for these women to humble down. Because that's how Israel is. Israel, as soon as they face adversity, that's when they want to come running back to the Most High. It's always been that way. So this is the reality right here. All right, to a lot of these women. Okay, you're gonna be out there on your own. And right now, men, they hold the value. So, you're not gonna try to, bargain with the man and think that, you're gonna come back and, make these negotiations and, partnerships and all this other. Nah, that's not gonna happen. It's gonna be full cooperation, full submission. All right. It's not gonna be half and half, 50-50. At this point, it's going to be, it's all or nothing. The hell with what this serpent taught you. Or face reality, man. So anyway, I'm going to end off with that. I'm going to give all honor, all praise and glory to Yahweh Basham Al Shai, and to the next lesson, Shalom.